Okay, so 7 reasons why you need a congressional cultural audit. So it's just about a cultural audit, maybe. So, like, tell us about maximizing ROI and how does this happen using the
All right.
ocean
Well,
tool?
first of all,
Yeah.
let's look at the reason you even need a culture audit. I mean, for in general, right? Let's say, let's say you got Google Maps, right? Now, we're all talking about the roadmap of where we need to go. Okay, I mean, everybody agrees that it's important to have a plan of where you need to go, right? The only problem is that people don't, like Google Maps cannot tell you where to go if it doesn't know where you already are.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have you may have a plan to get there, but unless you know where you are, you are unaware of the obstacles that are going to be getting in your way, or that may even prevent you from starting the journey. Okay. So by getting a culture audit, what's going to happen is that you're going to benchmark your culture. You're going to benchmark what people are feeling, what people are thinking. Okay, what level of culture are you at? Are you in a blame culture? Do you know that statistically, more than 60% of the organizations, at least in this part of the world, in Asia, more than 60% of the organizations are in the blame culture. Okay, so that's a lot. Okay, and if you go into Asia Major, it's actually more. But like in this part, over 60%. Now, one of the other benefits of the culture of getting a culture audit, of getting this benchmark, is to maximize training ROI. I mean, okay, if you're in HR, for example, how many times have you asked your training providers, well, what's the ROI on this? And they can tell you, well, I don't know. I mean, we're going to do training and it's going to be really great. You'll love it. And we're going to get lots of really great reviews because we're awesome trainers. Okay. But they don't actually give you ROI. They don't give you anything to measure. Has that ever happened? Just type yes if that's ever happened. Okay. And that's the thing, right? Is you got all these different people that promise you things, but there's no real way to measure the effectiveness. So when you have a benchmark, now you're able to measure your training ROI. So any money that you spend on training, you're able to actually see, let's compare the culture after, maybe 1 month after this training compared to what it used to be before the training. Okay. And so then you can literally compare, or a series of trainings. So you're able to literally see the progress that you're making, and for that matter, the ROI that you're getting on these different initiatives that you're doing. Okay, number 2.
Okay. Okay.
There you go. Oh, you found the slides. You're awesome.
Yeah, finally.
Okay. Now, let's let me just kind of share with you guys. See, I started to play the violin. Now, I suck at the violin, but when I was first starting to play it was like trying to get your fingers on it and everything. And it was just, it was just horrible. I mean, it was bad. Okay. But finally, after practicing, I mean, I got to play a song, like one song. I didn't even play it well, but the thing is that you could at least tell what it was, right? And so that was really cool, because that was like a benchmark. It was like my progress. I could see what it is, and then I felt good. So that kind of motivated me to further develop that skill. And it's the same thing with your culture, right? If you've got people that are, coming into the organization or already in the organization, say, hey, here we are, we're at this level. Okay. But now, okay, you're going to do this. We're trying all these new things. And you're going to be able to do all these really great things and everything else. And then later on you measure, and people can see the progress that they have made. So that's like, whoa, that's kind of exciting, right? Because you get to see progress. Do you know how when you're personally working on something or playing violin or whatever, that actually, when you see the progress, you get excited? Have you ever felt that? Type yes.
Yeah.
If you've ever felt excited after seeing actual progress in things that you are trying. Okay, next one. Okay, and of course, team efficiency. Okay, why team efficiency? Well, first of all, if you understand where you are, okay, now getting your teams together to look at various things to overcome. For example, if you have a blame culture, well, how can the teams come up with new ideas to overcome that? So for example, we've got this thing called the no blame zone, right? And you can find out about this at noblame.zone, www.noblame.zone. And it's like how to create a safe environment and stuff. So with the and when you have the data and the information, now you're getting the team to basically know where they're working, know what they have to work with, and know what they have to overcome in order to really achieve their goals. Okay, next.
Okay, so Noman has just shared the link, noblame.zone. Okay.
Yes, that's the one. Noblame.zone.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
now, okay, communication is a product of trust. Do you agree with that?
yeah.
It's very difficult to communicate to people who you have trust issues with, especially real communication. Would you agree with that? Type yes if you agree with that. Somebody says, let's see, how can we overcome most part of Asia? We are basically engaged with blame culture. Yes, yes, yeah. Well, actually, that was that noblame.zone. Check it out. Check it out. It'll give you some really good ideas to just start with. Okay, so that'll give you some good ideas to start with. So fundamentally, okay, if you have a common goal, a common purpose, right? Now, one of the things that Ahsen shared in the beginning is the concept of the ideal working environment. All right. Now, the ideal working environment, okay, and I want you to just think about this. I want you to think of 5 things that you would have as the ideal working environment. Just think of 5 things. All right. Okay, right now, just think 5 things. What could one be? Okay, think of it. Okay, think of the second one. All right. What would help you to make an ideal working environment? All right. Now, let me guess. Okay. So, number 1, teamwork. Something related to teamwork, working together, whatever. Okay. And that can also include communication, etc. Now, the other thing is going to be trust. Okay. Now, that could be getting people to trust you to do your job. Okay. Without giving you harassment or blame or whatever, or, giving you autonomy. Or it could be on the other side where it's making sure that people are accountable for what they're supposed to do. Okay, so trusting people to actually do what they're supposed to do. Okay, and of course, trust also relates back to if I say I'm going to do something, I actually do it, or people that do that, accountability, right? So something related to trust. Okay. Now, the other thing is going to be something related to clarity, and that goes back to, again, communication. It goes back to transparency, knowing where I stand, having either the structure or at least the clear vision of where I need to go, what I need to do in order to succeed. So something related to clarity, okay? What is expected, okay? And then finally, would be something that is, well, actually, no, that's 3. Okay, then you've got something related to a supportive environment. So it means I can go to some other department. I can, ask them to support me on something. I need this. Okay, you know, they need something from me and we help them. So this kind of supportive environment across departments. Okay, so that again goes back to elements of communication, about efficiency, productivity, all kinds of things go into that concept of the supportive environment. Okay, caring. And then of course, finally, you've got fun. Okay, something related to fun. Now, how'd I do? Okay, based on the things that I said, would you, you know, does it kind of recognition, respect? Well, respect goes back to the element of trust, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, trust is that element of respect. Do you respect what I'm saying? Do you respect how I'm working? Okay, so that element of respect absolutely is in that part. Now, based on these things, do you feel that, you know, that's similar to what you chose? Just type yes if you think it's similar to what you had. Okay, similar to what you had. Okay, so yes, yes, yes. Okay, so a lot of people are going to say yes. Okay, simply because we've asked the same question in 58 different countries. Everybody from, you know, PhDs to high school dropouts from janitors to CEOs, and it's always roughly the same. Okay, it's generally very similar. We all have a very similar vision of what we call the ideal working environment. Now, the thing is that element of the ideal working environment ultimately is going to have one foundation. Okay, which is communication, because that deals with clarity, it deals with trust, it even deals with fun. Okay, and deals with the supportive environment, and of course it deals with teamwork. So the communication, the ability to communicate, all of that is related back to this ideal working environment. So when you do a culture audit, okay, when you find out where your culture is now, the ultimate goal is to elevate, to evolve your culture to a higher level that can support an ideal working environment, which means that in order to achieve that, okay, we connect that to the element of communication and working together and trying, of course, to understand each other. So last time Ahsen did with me, he did a program on colored brain, and colored brain is another foundation of how we can build trust. And if you want to learn more about that, there's a TED Talk that you can look up on the internet, on Google. You just type Arthur Carmazzi TED or colored brain TED. Either one is fine. Okay, and you'll find the colored brain TED Talk. And so that shows you how you can literally develop trust. And of course, it's all about communication to evolving your culture. But again, that culture audit shows you where you are so that you can start to develop the communication to evolve. Okay, next one. Okay, and then identify leadership gaps. Okay, one of the key things is what's called a perception gap. Now, you know that there are people who think they're actually doing something good, but everybody knows they're not, but nobody tells them. Okay, you may have had this somewhere. Okay, so here's what it is. All right. So, you know, like sometimes maybe you think, hey, I need to be a good leader. So as a good leader, I should be supportive. Have you ever felt that? Okay, I need to be supportive, you know, and you think, wow, I'm being supportive. So your strategy of being supportive maybe is going there and helping people with little details and doing little things for them and all of this stuff. So you think, whoa, I'm a great leader, I'm being supportive. Everybody else, though, thinks you're a control freak. Okay. And they don't tell you because you're the boss, okay? And you're wondering why you're not really making the, progress because you're being so supportive and you think you're being caring and everybody else thinks you're not, okay? And so, but they don't, because they don't tell you, you are not aware. Now, here's the thing. See, you have the right attitude, you have the right mindset, you even have the right idea You just have the wrong strategy. And until you are aware that that strategy that you're using isn't working, you're not going to change it because you think you're doing the right thing. Now, it is much, 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 much more difficult to try to change somebody's mindset than it is to change their strategy for something that they already believe. Okay? And so by helping people to identify their perception gaps, okay, now you're going to get the ability to see, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I had these issues, right? And this is where, again, it's going to help people to redefine the strategy based on beliefs, positive beliefs and positive mindsets that they already have, okay? And so there's a tool we use called the management mirror, or basically it's the EDMA mirrored assessment thing, but we call it the management mirror for short. And what it does is it helps to identify perception gaps, but then it also continues on so that you can see this element of how to close the gaps. And it's got little tips and everything else. So as part of your culture audit, you're going to be able to close all these perception gaps so leaders can actually be more of who they think they want to be with better strategies and get better results. Okay, and then again, the innovation element is fundamental, right? Because as you are the fact that you're trying to evolve the culture indicates that there is going to be some progress, and you're going to show that level of measurement. The moment you measure something, you gamify it, okay? And if you can measure it in fun ways, it becomes gamified even more, okay? So when you say, hey, this is where we are and this is where we want to be, that is ultimately a very simple form of gamification. Now, what do you do in order to get from here to here? Those are all the game steps, right? So you go from here to here, and you maybe, but to make it more fun, that's where you start to create little bits of incentives and milestones, and all these little mini measurements to show you the element that from here to here is not one shot, because honestly, you know how we're just not patient anymore. We used to be a long time ago, but now we're in the post-Facebook era, right? I mean, instant messaging, instant phones, everything is instant, right? And nobody's patient, okay? So that means that if you have to wait 3 months to see your progress, it's not exciting, right? So the more you're able to connect to smaller measurements, weekly or even potentially daily milestones of something. Now, for example, how do you get daily milestones? Okay, let's say you have a big thing you want to do, okay? A big type of achievement. You want to develop leadership, okay? That's pretty big, right? So how do you determine, oh, okay, after 1 year, we can see that you have these leadership skills and then you suck at this, sorry. Okay, and like, oh no, I didn't realize I was doing that. Well, and it took you a year to get that feedback. But now what if you reversed engineered what it takes to be a leader within the culture that you're trying to create? Okay, now you do that, and now you're starting to go ahead, and if you reverse engineer it into behaviors, it's very easy to measure behaviors on a daily basis. And if innovation is one of those things that you want to develop as a leader, which generally maybe it is, okay, now you're starting to identify leadership behaviors, and then you can measure those those innovation behaviors regularly to ultimately get this evolved culture. Okay, so now you've got the gamification of innovation, and also the ultimate on the individual. You can do it within the teams, and then you also have the ultimate big one, which is all the teams and people combined, which is the culture. Okay, and finally, alignment with the common vision. I mean, vision is related to behaviors. I mean, if you're going to achieve a common vision, if you're going to get people connected to this ideal working environment, to what your company stands for, to the values of your organization, it all goes back to behaviors. And when you can connect those behaviors back to the culture that you want to create, okay, now you've got a winning formula, okay? But it still starts with where you are. Where are you? What values are missing? See, doing surveys and stuff like that by itself is not really going to help, okay? But when you start playing games with people, they don't really know what you're doing, so they'll just generally play with you. And you can find out all kinds of stuff from playing games. Okay, you can find out what values people have. You can find out, we've got this card game, these CBC cards, colored brain communication cards that you can use to literally read people's minds. Okay, it looks really cool. It literally looks like you can read people's minds, but it's just psychology. An easy way to read, yes, that's them. An easy way to read how people interpret information and what are the values that they have. And for that matter, if you connect all of this stuff, you're able to ultimately find out how they're going to behave by themselves, but more importantly, how they're going to behave connected with this group. Do you ever notice how when you're in one group, sometimes you are just awesome. You have like some amazing ideas. You're like really great. You're aligned with, you know, your own values and everything else. But the moment you get into a different group, sometimes that group brings out the worst in you, and maybe you're more angry or more frustrated or more quiet or whatever. Have you ever had a situation, or have you ever felt have you ever had the situation where different groups bring out different parts of who you are? Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. Have you ever had that? Type yes, if you've ever had that experience. Because understanding yourself and understanding that is going to be a major factor in aligning the common vision or the common values in your organization. And because you by helping people to mix with the right people in your organization is going to help people to literally get the right, connect with the values in a way that brings out the best in them. Because sometimes, and this is part of a study, this is not theory, okay? We've actually done it. Just simple observation of certain teams. You can take one person out. So for example, there was a 10-person team, okay? And the efficiency of this, well, the team was a logistics team, okay? So their job was to actually get product to consumers with no damage and basically on time, okay? Simple, right? Except that there was more damage and there was a lot of things going late. So you've got 10 people doing this job. We took one person out. Now you have 9 people doing this job, okay? Productivity, the time efficiency increased, the damage, element reduced. So by actually taking one person out, having 9 people do the work of 10, you actually got much better results. Why? Because you are by measuring all of these different things that give you an idea of your organizational culture, your people, your team cultures, is going to give you a way to literally be able to maneuver and kind of tweak, okay, all of these things so that you're able to maximize the benefit of your people and your teams.
So thank you, Arthur, for your time. It was a great session, and I think we enjoyed it, and it was an immense nuggets of wisdom for that. So thank you very much, Arthur. Okay, take care.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Ahsen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.